Hey there, so I'm here. I made it to TalentNet Live, or at least to what will be as of this evening. We have a tweet up. It's exciting. Which leads me to a question. What kind of packer are you when it comes to work stuff? I mean, obviously on vacation we kind of try to pack light so we can bring home souvenirs, but what happens when you're not bringing home souvenirs? Do you pack heavy or do you pack light? Not gonna lie, I'm a pack heavy kind of person. I like to have options, and I like really cool shoes, so I tend to pack a lot of shoes, which tends to get a little heavy. So, between my mobile office, my shoes, and my clothes, I came in at 49.2 pounds. So earlier I asked what kind of packer you were. Now I'm all settled into my room and I've gotten my work done, so I thought I'd show you what kind of packer I am. I like a neat place. I like everything being in its place. I can't do the whole live out of a suitcase thing. I would be a horrible road warrior, I think. So, here's what it looks like. Kind of big on having everything unpacked, and yeah, I do like to have all my stuff, so tend to get it all settled in, and that's just kind of my thing. If you go to the closet, then, you know, everything is out and hung and whatnot, and shoes. See? Gotta have the cool shoes. It makes everything better. Work area set up. It's a fun hotel. I'm looking forward to the conference though.
We'll just stop with the data there. Those are the high points. The next slides were really going to be some data around financial performance as it relates to employee engagement, and I've got some sources like the Wharton School and other kinds of things. But it's really clear now, it's not just an urban legend, that engagement really does impact, for the plus and for the minus, corporate performance, particularly as it's measured by employee earnings per share, the profitability, revenue growth, all of those kinds of things. There is now, we are gathering the data that shows a direct causal relation between employee organization financial performance and employee engagement. So that's what those slides are going to be.
What do you like about working here?
Oh gosh, there's so many things. Your opinion always matters. Everybody's very friendly. It's obviously a pretty laid-back environment, so I get to think outside the box every day.
Very cool. I love the Family Guy stuff on the bathroom.
Yes.
That was cracking me up.
Criteria, but also it's happening on your name and on your address. So if you are called Mohammed Ali, and that's you're clearly from Arabia, so from the Arabic part, and in France we kind of don't like them, and so.
So what have you got out of it so far?
I mean, I love being at TalentNet. I've been at, this is my third one now. I love helping out, I love speaking, but mostly I love participating. I think that seeing Robert Scoble was amazing. I mean, it was one of the main reasons I got here early, which I never ever do at conferences. So, and hearing Alicia in China speak about employee engagement has been fantastic.
I called rack-based security and said, bring some of your valuation down into this room and stack up $7 billion over on the left. And I made a deal with any and all of you that said, you know what, you can have the one lousy dollar, or you can have the $7 billion. No strings attached, just make the choice to keep things in your own self-interest. How many of you would pick the $7 billion?
What do you want to talk about? I mean, because like I said, if it's, you know, because you got to figure out that if you're building an audience, you got to have something that somebody wants to hear. I mean, a real true community or an audience is where you're exchanging thoughts, and so your content framework can be topical, it could be event driven, it could be around a cause. You know, you can see they're kind of, you know, there's lots of crossover there. But you got to just figure out and literally think of it as a, you know, as a spreadsheet is, you know, kind of what's the purpose, and then what are the areas that I want to explore talking about, and not even talking about, where do I want to start listening? That's the easiest place to get into your audience building, is where do I want to start listening? Because very few people successfully, unless you are well known for some reason, either you're on the speaker, you ran a company, you're a speaker, discover something, very few people instantly want to listen. You're not in demand very much when you get out of the gate. Most of us, you know, normal people are not in demand out of the gate, and probably, as much as we think we have good ideas, we don't have an audience yet. So mine was, where do I start listening? You know, and so, you know, my my first thing was I favorited Jason's site and blog.
So for 10 years, I did executive coaching. I worked with executives, I helped them understand their stories, I assessed them, I put them through a behavioral interview, told them what they were good at across 52 different competencies, how they would play with the team, what they would do well, what they wouldn't do well. And the advice that I would give to people would be things like, tone down your aggressiveness. Don't let anybody know you're an introvert. Go out and make things happen. You're going to have to get over that introversion. You're too high control. You need to bring things, get more control over your work. You need to be more detail-oriented. Personality factors, interpersonal skills, things that don't have anything to do with their technical or professional skills. This is the advice that I'm giving to folks. When I would do training, and we would talk about communications and problems organizations would be having with communications, I'd find myself in discussions with people who would say, well, my boss is an autocrat. And the advice would be, well, you know what? Prepare yourself for emotional abuse. That's how you deal with an autocratic boss. Now, where in the professional world does prepare yourself for emotional abuse fall in? It doesn't. It has to do with helping people personally get over resistance. Because it turns out, not only is it that our resistance is personal, but the reason for that, it turns out that nobody turns off their personality when they come to work. You may hire for a job, but everybody in this room knows the whole person comes to work when that person shows up on day one. Their bad morning shows up, their bad relationships show up, all the baggage comes with them. People are professional. Relationships are professional. Activities follow very specific protocols. An activity can be professional, an activity can be personal, an activity can be social. So we're looking at social media, we're talking about engaging people on LinkedIn, engaging them on Facebook. Well, how many of you have a social network, personal network on Facebook? Okay, and we just heard that recruiting on Facebook is one of the things that this is an untapped opportunity. Do you intend to keep those networks separate? And if so, how? What was that?
The professional profile on Facebook.
That works until somebody reaches out to you on Facebook and says, let's just connect. Professional and personal stay separate until a coworker shows up on a softball team, until a friend starts dating a coworker, until you start dating a coworker. The lines here blur, and once they go quickly. That distinction doesn't work at an identity level and at a relationship level. The activities you engage in can fit in these boxes. The relationships don't. Let the lines blur. Now, what does that mean? Well, usually when I say that, usually when I say that, people think, but often when I say that, I get some resistance. People say, well, how do I manage that? What do I do? My answer is, it's actually a lot easier to manage that than the opposite. In 1984, McDonald's came out with a sandwich called the McDLT. Anybody here remember the McDLT? Right, hot side hot, cold side cold. So for those of you who were not around, you got a bottom bun and a burger over here, you got a top bun with lettuce, tomato, and cheese over here. And it came in one of like this barbell-shaped styrofoam thing, and you pop the whole top off and you kind of put your sandwich together and you ate it. It was a pain in the ass. It was good. In 1990, about December of 1990, McDonald's killed it. There was a whole bunch of environmental pushback on the fact that it had all this packaging. It just seemed to be a waste. Managing that sandwich was untenable. It was too expensive to manage this McDLT. The sandwich ultimately was a failure. Not only was it a failure as a sandwich strategy, it's a failure as a life strategy. Think about the effort that goes into keeping your personal and professional world separate. There's a whole Seinfeld episode about your worlds colliding. How much easier would life be if you just get to be you? If you have permission to be yourself wherever you are? Now, does that mean that I can wear shorts to work? Maybe, maybe not. It has to do with where you work. But you already solved that problem in your personal life. Tonight's Friday night. Maybe you live in San Antonio. Maybe you're planning on coming out for TNL. And maybe you're invited to a very casual affair. Shorts and flip-flops kind of affair. You can't get dressed for both. You pick one. You dress for that one. And when you show up overdressed and all your friends are in jean shorts and, or not, hopefully not jean shorts, shorts and flip-flops, and they say, you know, why are you overdressed? You just tell them, I came from another event. And they go, oh, okay. Because they know the activity you were engaged in was a professional activity. And they say, okay, I get you, I get the personal you, but you're dressed for what had been a professional activity. That works. You already know how to manage this. The flip side of that is try and keep them separate and then to make up all kinds of excuses. Or to keep a change of clothes in your car and you pull up to the parking garage, what are you going to do? Like change in the parking garage and hope no one sees you as you're changing your clothes? It doesn't work, and yet that's what we do in our professional lives all the time. So be you, let the activity be professional, but bring your whole self there, be honest about that. And don't worry about managing the difference because you already know how to do that. Once you make the leap, you'll have that V8 moment. You'll go, oh, you know what, I get it. Now let's look at the flip side real quickly. Companies. So who here works for a company that might be resistant to the notion of professionalism? Your company already struggles with the notion of professionalism. It shows up in absenteeism, it shows up in lost productivity, it shows up in low employee morale. When you look at engagement or whatever your metric is for how invested employees are with the brand, the gap between where they are and where the company wants them to be, that's the personal stuff. That gap can be closed with professionalism. Now, if you want to engage in professionalism, what you need to do is you need to make clear to the company that you understand there's certain protocols that go around activities, and you will maintain a professional protocol when engaged in work activities. But let's not kid ourselves. When you have a bad morning, you're dragging it all morning. It's not when you walk in the day and, wow, I just completely forgot about this fight I just was having with my spouse 20 seconds ago. It doesn't happen. The whole you comes to work, and the more honest you are about that, the better it will be for everybody. Your manager is afraid that professionalism means you're showing up in flip-flops and shorts. If you want a more honest dialogue with your managers, with your company, then you need to be clear to your company, look, I'm a whole person, you're a whole person, we're building relationships on, first of all, whether or not we like each other as human beings before we ever get to the activities we do. That's what professionalism means to me, and if you give me that much, I will commit to you that I will maintain a professional protocol around the activities we engage in. That simple concept will help you implement the tools that we've been talking about. Because the hang-ups you have in your head, the little things that are rattling around the back of your brain, have to do with what happens when I engage. What will my friends start to think when I put out a job post on Facebook? What will the candidates think if I put something personal out on Facebook? What will my boss think if I am on social media? Those are the resistance points that I see people have when we talk social media. Professionalism as a concept, if you embrace that, will help you start moving through it because it blows all of those resistance points away. And all you're left with are the technical issues of, right, how do I actually use this website? And that you've been doing for over a decade. You know the answers to those questions. That is my very abbreviated introduction to professionalism.
It is time for post-TNL Birthday Fun. I am 33 today, and Marin Hogan is also having a birthday. I won't say her age because you're not supposed to do that. So we are having our 30-ish birthday fun. And I think it's actually happy hour, but we're making it birthday fun. So now it's birthday fun with Bill Borman and Jason Seiden and Matt and Marin, of course, Marianthi and Chris... Brian Wimpin and Craig Fisher, and I think that's probably it. And I'm doing a lot of and-ums, so I'm going to say if I forgot anybody, I'm so sorry, and I'll catch you later. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you missed TNL in San Antonio, I'm so sorry. You definitely missed out on some great content, but you'll have a chance to get some similar content at Dallas's TNL, which will be at the end of August. So more information about that next week when we've had a chance to all regroup and whatnot. But you can check out Twitter's hashtag #TNL, and I'm sure there'll be some details there. Or you can contact Craig Fisher, since this is his company's event, at Fishdogs, FISHDOGS on Twitter.